I guess I wanted to ask too, and I don't know how sensitive an area it is from the NIL perspective too. You know, you get all these guys talking about like how NIL can be divisive in the locker room, and we all know that Nebraska has one of like, you know, the best setups in the country. And if you can't talk about this, you can stop me now. But are you seeing like one dude talking to another dude about his NIL and people like getting jealous? Are you seeing like, is that sort of thing really happening in the locker room, or is that just people on Twitter like saying a bunch of stuff they don't know about?
They a bunch of people, respectfully, I know they're fans and I know they mean well sometimes, but that's kind of a bunch of nonsense because first of all, when we go in the locker room, that's the last thing we want to talk about. Like, you know what I'm saying? We'll talk about the Celtics and the Warriors before we talk about,
I'm a huge Warriors fan, by the way, man.
Really?
I'm from the Bay Area, so
Okay.
yeah, that's my team. So yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk. We can talk about that later.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
But yeah, like that's one rule, and it's caused a lot of people to be professional, because really we are professionals at this point. We're getting paid to do certain stuff. So I think the biggest rule, and this something my dad always taught me: don't count anyone's pockets. Um, don't compare, because you know comparison is the killer of all joy. Don't don't do that, because at the end of the day, say you're getting X amount of dollars and he's getting uh, a little bit more than you, and now you're looking back and you're like, well, I'm better than him. I play more snaps than him. Like that's not the way to go about it, because like I've done that personally, like, and I had to snap out. I'm like, come on, bro, like be happy for your brother, like just be happy for him. Like you should be like whenever I see someone NIL stuff come on my Twitter page, I'll retweet it. Because like if I can get them a couple dollars, then shoot, I'll help my brother out, you know. So I don't think anybody is really doing that around me, at least. I doubt they're doing it, to be honest with you.
No, I think that's great to hear, because, you know, it's one thing for all the like, we'll call it Twitter chatter, where people are saying like, oh, these are the sort of things that are going to ruin the sport and everything. And I don't think it is. I've always been about, I mean, when I was in college, I could have a job and go to school at the same time, right? And it was, I never really understood like why it was illegal at one point to like put cream cheese on bagels. Like literally that was an NCAA rule at one point. You know, like you could not have cream cheese on bagels.
Wait.
Like because it was considered a luxury. You know, like I'm not even joking you. There was a whole big segment, I think, on ESPN, the old Mike and Mike show, where they were talking about it, and it was like schools would like have to self-report violations because somebody provided cream cheese for the bagels in the room, like stupid things, right? So it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, why can't these kids who are part of a giant organization in the NCAA, you know, make a few dollars for themselves while they're in school? Because, you know, you hear these stories about like, you know, guys that are on like 2 meals a day with their scholarship, right? And then the rest of the time they're like eating like super unhealthy like chips and top ramen and stuff because they're struggling to get by. So I don't have a problem with it. I'm all for it. I'm 100% on the NIL train. Sure, they can tighten some of the screws around here and there to make sure that things aren't out of control and, you know, whatever they want to call it, the wild, wild west, which I hate that saying. But, you know, so I'm happy for you kids, man. I think it's great that you guys are, you know, able to, because in my head, it also puts to rest, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it puts to rest probably in your head a little bit, one less worry, right? You'll probably always have a little bit of pocket change because of NIL, because you're walking around. So you don't have to worry about going out on like a Friday night with your friends and worrying about how you're going to pay for like the burger and fries that you're about to eat. Right. And that's huge, because you can hear stories about kids like that, you know, as far back as like 5 years ago, you know. So it's, to me, that's a huge thing, and it makes me happy to hear that you guys aren't like, you know, comparing pockets, as you like to say, you know, looking in other guys' pockets. So